Guys, I'm sure everyone has wondered at some point in their life. There are some great questions which go unanswered, but here at Beer Brackets, we do our absolute best to find these questions. We search out these questions and we answer them. We answer them for you. This one in particular was a request from one of our viewers. So our first ever, Alessandro, it's our first ever official viewer request that we're finally getting to. This is exciting.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I couldn't believe it when we first got it. And we said, yeah, we need to put it on the schedule as soon as we can. So here we are.
But Abigail Hernandez Barron, thank you so much for requesting this. We are today tackling the epic question, Stella Artois. Is it better in a can? Is it better in a bottle? We're gonna find out. What we're going to do, if you haven't seen our other can versus bottle videos, we open up the can, we open up the bottle, we pour them out. We don't do a full review. We talk about our different review elements. So we go over aroma, taste, finish, so on and so forth. And we see which one we prefer. Not giving it a point score, just which one do we like better. Alessandro, are you excited for this one?
I am so ready, my friend. And if you haven't watched our review, Stella Artois, make sure you go check it. And you'll see why I'm excited about this.
So we gave Stella Artois in a can a really, really high review. This is a delicious Pilsner. And so now we have our clear green glass bottle here. And if you're not completely familiar with how green clear glass affects a beer, go down and check out our Heineken What Makes It Smells Kinda Skunky video. Put a link to that down below so you can get a little bit more background information. Long story short, the light getting through, the UV rays getting through to the beer through the clear green glass does affect the final flavor and can give it that kind of skunky aroma that you associate with beers like Heineken that as well are in a clear green glass bottle. What do you think, Alessandro? Do you have any predictions going into this and how you think it's going to turn out?
You know what? Like a long time ago, I would have said like, let's go one way, but you never know with these VS episodes. So I'm just going to keep it simple and just say, let's see.
Because Alessandro in the can rated it a perfect beer. I gave it perfect scores all the way through, except for the finish that I found was a little bit too bitter for my tasting. So it only got a 2 out of 3, which is still really good. Let's see if that's different in the bottle. Should we pour them out?
Let's do it, my friend. I can't wait.
Let's do it. All right.
Fuck it.
Love it. Start with that bottle. You can smell it right away. Right? This is actually, the skunkiness on this one is a little bit more intense than what I got on the Heineken, I find even. All right, so I'm going to pour out about, as usual, about 1/3 of the way up the glass. Leave some room in there. The bottle, first impression, a lot less carbonated. At least mine is. I mean, you can see here the difference in the head. The one out of the can has a really frothy, thick head, and the one out of the bottle has nothing. That could be due to the bottle that I have. I don't know. What are you seeing on your end?
Same thing, my friend. I was just noticing it. It's the carbonation went away much faster.
Yeah.
We'll see if that is reflected.
That's definitely going to affect the mouthfeel at the very least. So let's get right into it. We start with the aroma.
Let's do it.
Let's give them both a sniff. See what we think.
Let's do it.
Whoa. Okay, I know what I'm going to say already. Go for it. I'll let you start.
So, I'm going to just take another sniff here. Yeah, there's definitely a difference.
They're very different. Yeah.
While in the can, I have all that elements that I talked about in the review, those like the toasted, the hops. Mm-hmm. Like here on the bottle, I get that skunkiness comes through a little bit more pungent.
I know, right?
It's almost like the hops aroma is like more intensified, but it's not quite hops. So it's just like a little bit more pungent.
Yeah.
So for me, it's still can. Still can.
It still can, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. And you know what? When we were reviewing Heineken can versus bottle, it was the same issue, right? You have the green clear glass bottle that gives it obviously that strong skunkiness that everybody associates with Heineken. This for me is actually, it's much stronger of an aroma in terms of that skunkiness. It takes over everything. And you don't get, at first it was so much stronger. When I first cracked the bottle and poured it out, the skunkiness was extremely overpowering. Now it's less overpowering as it's had some time to breathe a little bit and those aromas have had a little bit of time to escape. But it still takes over everything, and it takes over. Why this got a 3-on-3 aroma in the review was because of that toasted element, the toasted malts that I love so much. They get overpowered by the skunkiness on the bottle version, so I'm gonna have to go with the can on aroma. Taste. It's taste time, my friend.
Oh, yes.
Let's give them both a sip.
Double beer!
Yeah. I'm gonna freshen them up a little bit first, actually. And then we will pour them out and see. Whenever you are ready, give me your impressions. Tell me what you think.
Oh yeah, completely different experience. The toasted element, it's way more subdued, in my opinion, in the bottle. So while I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing, you might like that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm still going to lean towards the can on this because of that toasted element that it's so nice and balanced in the can. Like it has that hop, that almost savory component that I just love in this kind of beer. So can for me for sure on the taste.
I got to agree with you 100%, man. I think on the bottle, the bitterness is definitely taken over. And again, that bitterness comes from, guys, if you're not 100% familiar with this, do please check out our Heineken What Makes It Smells Kind of Skunky episode. We do go over this in a lot more detail. Basically, the light getting through to the bottle over time while it's being stored out in the open, whether it's even in a dark refrigerated area, a non-refrigerated area, sitting on your shelf for a couple of weeks, the beer essentially starts to go bad in some ways. Not in the sense that makes it undrinkable or that it's expired. It does change the actual makeup of the beer, that light getting through to it, and changes the flavor profile. So the bitterness on this one is a little too forward for that reason, and you do lose out on the toastiness. So on the taste, I'm definitely going with the can as well. So it's 2 for the can so far. What do you think about the mouthfeel?
I gotta freshen them up, my friend, here for this. I just want to make sure I get like especially a little bit of that carbonation.
Yeah, you got to make sure that carbonation is nice and fresh to get a full, accurate reading of the mouthfeel.
I like that. An accurate reading. Yes.
An accurate reading.
That's what I'm going to start using now. I'm going to take an accurate reading of this beer. I love it.
We are beer barometers here at Beer Brackets. We are here to take accurate readings of every measure.
Oh, I love it. So if I'm, and mouthfeel can be tricky because, you tend to want to consider taste, a little bit of the retronasal aroma and the finish. Yeah. But if you really just strictly consider the mouthfeel, I don't know if I can. I mean, there is a slight difference, but coming from the aroma and the taste where the difference was dramatic, here I would say that it's less. I do agree that the can, to me, has a little bit more carbonation.
Yeah.
Or at least it stays a little bit more. So I'm going to still lean towards the can. It's a very slight, I would say, if on these so far is where they're closest, for me at least.
So another score for the can. I got to take one more sip here. The mouthfeel in the can has all the elements that we talked about in the review. You have that silkiness that coats your mouth, very strong, balanced carbonation as well. With the bottle version, you get that extra bitterness and acidity that gives a complete other element to the mouthfeel that I like. It's different. For me, it's interesting that you said they were pretty close. For me, they're very different. That bitterness, that tingling on the tongue, in the bottle version is so prominent for me. It's very different. I can see how one person might like that. They might like that bitterness. a little bit better than the subtleness of the can version. But for me personally, if I'm going to be sitting down and drinking a pint of something, I'm going to go more with the can on that mouthfeel. I like the silkiness of it, the way it coats your tongue. I like that nice balanced carbonation. You still get a bit of bitterness, but it's not overpowering. The bottle version, just the bitterness is turned up a notch, not to my taste, so it's can for me. So what about finish? What do you think? And the finish is interesting because that's the only place it lost points in the review. I gave it 2 on 3 for the finish, 3 on 3 for everything else, and Alessandro had 3 on 3s all the way through.
For me, on the finish, on the bottle, the bitterness is a little bit more prominent. While in the review, I mentioned like how I like the way that the toasted element was balanced by the bitterness. Here on the bottle, I find that bitterness is a little bit more prominent, which it's bringing it up too much for me. So again, I'm going to lean towards the can because I think that toasted element is a little bit subdued. So kind of like what you were saying in the review, that the bitterness was a little bit too overpowering.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking here about the bottle. So still can for me.
You know what's interesting? I not complained, but I didn't give it a perfect grade in the can because the bitterness was a little too strong on the finish. I'll take another sip. The bitterness is much stronger in the bottle, but for some reason, it feels more balanced for me. There is another element in there that I think, you know how we chose Heineken in a bottle over a can because there were certain elements out of the bottle, certain taste characteristics that weren't replicated in the can. So that change in flavor that came from the clear green glass were positives in the case of Heineken. We thought it had more of a distinctive character to it that we liked better. Those characters are very prominent in the Stella bottle version. It increases the bitterness, but there's also kind of like a butteriness almost that comes along with that on the finish for me, like a creaminess that I really love out of the Heineken bottles as well. There's a kind of creaminess on the taste on the finish that you get in the bottle that you don't get in the can. And I'm getting that here, and it's balancing out that extra bitterness to a point where I really like it. So for me, it's going to be the bottle on finish. The bottle's going to get a point. So look, at this point, even if the bottle got 2 points, it's not going to take the victory. But let's find out what we think. As an overall experience, would you choose the can or the bottle?
I am taking a reading here, sorry. Honestly, like I kind of went all the way through with can, and I just took a last sip just to confirm.
Yeah.
But I still like the can a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think that
kind of goes without saying.
Toasted element, it's coming more prominently in the in the can. The toasted element is coming more prominently in the can than it is in the bottle, which is to me what really set that apart and made me give Stella Artois the perfect score, because it has that balance of the bitterness, the toasted element, which is amazing. I can't say the same thing about the bottle, so I'm going to still stick with the can for me.
Absolutely. It goes without saying at this point, it's going to be the can for those exact reasons. So those extra characteristics that are given by that clear green glass, that skunkiness, that extra bitterness, that kind of creaminess that I described on the finish and a little bit on the taste, it's not enough to overcome what the can offers. And what gave Stella that perfect score for Alessandro and almost perfect score for me in the review, which was that beautiful balanced toasted malt element that you had on the taste, that you had on the finish, that you had on the aroma. That was just so perfect. And you lose that in the bottle. That skunkiness, the bitterness just overtakes it. So, guys, we cracked the mystery. When it comes down to Stella Artois, can or bottle, for us here at Beer Brackets, it's the can. The can is victorious. You might have some different opinions. You might have some different preferences. You guys might like the bitterness. A lot of people do really love that skunkiness. And as we do in Heineken, we chose the bottle over the can of Heineken just because of the elements that that clear green glass brought to it. But in this case, can't lose that toasted maltiness, man. Can't lose it. It's too good.
It's delicious. And if you haven't checked out our Heineken review or our Heineken can versus bottle, go check it out. Find out what we think and let us know if you think something different.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to our viewers for suggesting episodes that you'd like to see. Please do let us know below if there's another beer that you'd like us to tackle. See what we prefer, can or bottle. Comment down below, let us know, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. I promise, if you suggest it and we can get the beers, if we can somehow get them, we'll do it eventually. Double Stella cheers. Don't forget to open and close your Stella Artois beer brackets. Open with a bottle, close with a can. Your choice. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Don't forget to close your beer bracket.
Never forget.